Welcome back. The House committee investigating the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol issued a new round of subpoenas Friday, and they include two Wisconsin Republicans. Former state GOP chair Andrew Hitt and De Pere Alderwoman Kelly Rue, both Republican electors, received subpoenas. The committee says it's seeking information about attempts in several states, including Wisconsin, to overturn the results of the 2020 election. Republican electors in Wisconsin and 6 other states that Joe Biden won secretly met and submitted a false slate of Electoral College votes for Donald Trump. ABC News political director Rick Klein is here. Rick, help us break this down. How serious and how significant is this new round of subpoenas?
Yeah, Matt, this was kind of an offshoot of the broader issues that were going on around January 6th and up to and including that date. What this was an attempt to create the legal structure that would allow Vice President Pence to potentially reject the electors from Wisconsin and other states that Biden had won, to say that they were disputed slates of electors. There was some precedent for that. What there's not precedent for, and what of course is not inside the legal system, is just creating the documentation to send electors to the National Archives and to suggest that you are something that you're not. So what's not clear to me yet is if the individuals who've subpoenaed in Wisconsin and elsewhere are the primary actors here, or just part of a larger scheme that the January 6th committee is trying to get at. Were they acting on someone else's direction? What kind of instructions did they get? Did they themselves engage in some kind of fraud? My suspicion is that they aren't the people that are being targeted by the committee, or that would be targeted by a legal investigation, but what they know and who they were in touch with and what exactly they said all could be of big interest as they build out a broader case. We received a statement from Andrew Hitt, the former state GOP chair, and he told us, quote, "I absolutely will cooperate with the committee's request to provide information. As I said in the past, the Wisconsin electors were simply following the guidance of Wisconsin Legal Counsel to preserve the ongoing Wisconsin legal strategy. There was no intent beyond that, and I'm happy to participate in this process to clarify any confusion that may exist." Is that the type of response the committee is looking for, do you think? Well, I think they're definitely looking for cooperation, and there's actually some information in that as well. I've talked to people involved in and around the committee. They like when anyone comes in and talks to them and is forthcoming. I think they'll also look for any kind of digital communications, any data that went back and forth, and specifically who was directing a strategy like that, because it is an extra legal strategy. There was not an actual dispute over Wisconsin's electors. If there had been one that was successful, what the argument would be is that you needed that alternate slate of electors to leave the options open. But the point is that by January 6th, all of the legal challenges in Wisconsin and the other states had long since been exhausted. There was nothing really left. And to say that you're an elector who was duly chosen to cast your vote for Donald Trump, it's not how it works. And in fact, those submissions were utterly ignored by any official who saw anything like them. So I think the question will be if there was any kind of fraud involved in that submission. But I think that this makes the point that these Wisconsin would-be electors were basically following the direction of the legal team. As you mentioned, they're looking for documents, text messages, voicemails, phone messages, other documents. They want those by February 11th. They want testimony on February 28th. We've seen this debate play out. What type of power does this committee have to enforce this? Well, because these are not members of Congress and not also White House officials, it may be a little bit easier to get forced cooperation. The first choice is always to get someone to come in without a subpoena. They can issue subpoenas when they like. The committee's had some problems enforcing those subpoenas when it comes to people who worked in the White House. That's why the Steve Bannon case, even though he hadn't worked there for years, revolves around executive privilege. I don't think you'll have the same kind of privilege claims that surround this. But if an individual chooses not to participate and doesn't show up, you can be held in contempt of Congress. That can be referred over for criminal charges. It is a time-consuming process. That is why voluntary cooperation is so important. As you referenced, Matt, this committee doesn't have its own police force. There's no people that are ready to put people behind bars if they don't cooperate. And they also know that they're operating under a time frame where they basically have to finish up their work by this summer to get a report out by the fall. As you look at this new round of subpoenas, what does this tell you about the state of this committee's investigation? Is this expanding the scope of it? It strikes me that they continue to go in bigger directions. And that's surprising to me, at least. I think by this stage of the investigation, I would have thought they would hone in on some things. But new information has come out. And this area suggests to me that they're going pretty deep in the legal maneuverings that were in place that were being directed by a number of the president's attorneys and pseudo attorneys in the different orbits around President Trump that were trying to salvage this election after the fact. And they were putting in place whatever they could to make it possible to do what Donald Trump wanted Mike Pence to do, but ultimately he knew he didn't have the constitutional ability to do, which was to say that there's too much dispute now, and this election has to be resolved by the House of Representatives, as the Constitution outlines. It's a very rare occurrence, and it's designed for times when there's actual election disputes. That's not what we had here, and that's the critical point that the committee keeps hammering home in this investigation.
New developments as we head into a new week. ABC News political director Rick Klein, thank you.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Matt.
Coming up, another Republican candidate is in, and he's going after fellow Republicans.